Would you like to
You.
just tell about your role there and how you help students in achieving their language goals?
As you rightly said, that I'm the founder of Bonjour and Beyond. I focus a lot on adding more value in terms of their learning journey, and of course, the bigger goal or the picture is to crack the exam and get the permanent residency.
This time we are going to have around 4 rounds in this podcast. First will be a basic introduction part and a little bit of we will be putting a spotlight on your journey, professional journey. And the second round will be basically dedicated in French. Like we will be having conversation mainly in French, so that people will be aware about the language fluency and everything. And third round will be about language and career integration. And the final round will be a fun finale that will be a rapid fire quiz. Hi Disha, welcome on the podcast of Language in You. I really welcome and I'm really happy to see you here today. And thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Thank you so much, Parth, for inviting me. It's just such a great platform to share my insights about this entire language learning journey. So thank you so much.
And we are gonna begin with a very first round that we have for you. And this time we are going to have around 4 rounds in this podcast. First will be a basic introduction part and a little bit of we will be putting a spotlight on your journey, professional journey. And the second round will be basically dedicated in French. Like we will be having conversation mainly in French, so that people will be aware about the language fluency and everything. And third round will be about language and career integration. And the final round will be a fun finale that will be a rapid fire quiz, right?
Sounds good. Sounds interesting, especially the last bit.
Yes. So I will recommend everybody to just stick to the video till the end because the fun is gonna be there. And there will be a lot of good insights we are gonna share in between the videos. We are gonna begin with the very first round now. That will be basic introduction and about your journey with the language. My first question for you here is, what inspired you to learn French initially?
So learning a foreign language had always been on my bucket list, and since Canada and France were my top two popular choices for higher studies, I think French just very naturally fit into the picture, and that was the first real step towards learning the language.
Interesting. And you are currently building a language institute, or I would say language school, I would say. And
Mm-hmm.
that is Bonjour and Beyond. And the
Yes, that's
name
correct.
itself is actually very connecting, to be very honest. Bonjour and Beyond, that means you are like not just you are training people to go deeper into the language. And I'm sure your journey, you must be going through a roller coaster ride, because I'm sure building up a business like this, authentic platform is not at all easy. Hats off to you on you're doing such a great work there. And would you like to
You.
just tell about your role there and how you help students in achieving their language goals?
Sure. As you rightly said, that I'm the founder of Bonjour and Beyond. And my role, I think, is just not limited to helping students to prepare and ultimately crack the TEF and the TCF exams. I focus a lot on adding more value in terms of their learning journey. And of course, the bigger goal or the picture is to crack the exam and get the permanent residency. But I offer a lot more than that. I help students to have that kind of confidence in the language. And for those who are genuinely interested in exploring a professional path in French, I make sure that they are truly ready for it.
That's very true. That's very true. And because I have heard the same about you, because a friend of mine has given a really a positive feedback for you. Hats
Thank
off.
you.
I
He's
mean,
a very dear student to
congratulations.
me. Thank
Congratulations to
you.
you on that. Now, before this, you worked as a bilingual expert, right, in an insurance company, for some time. How did your French skills enhance your work there?
Yeah, so being a bilingual expert for a Paris-based company was one of the most rewarding experiences because I was very passionate about this language. And coincidentally, I happened to land up in a job in a French company. All lines of communication with the stakeholders and other important actors used to take place in French. All email communications, all telephonic communications, or even meetings for that fact. I had a lot of opportunity day in and day out to flex and use my language skills. I think that was like a cherry on the cake for me.
So, and I assume that you have also taught French at a language academy. What teaching strategies did you find most effective during your?
I think one of the most effective teaching strategies as a trainer that I have used is giving my students a detailed feedback on the writings, be it the grammar structure, it could be the vocabulary, it could be in terms of the using a lot of connector logic because we speak a lot about that in our B1 and B2 classes, that they understand that how important it is to have that kind of an accuracy, especially in a language which is filled with grammar rules, right? What I really think I bring a lot of value on the table is by providing them with a list of French expressions that they can use. It could be in the form of colloquial expressions, it could be synonyms to add some extra weightage to their sentences and make it more meaningful.
Now, different question is, you come from a
Mhm.
background in political science and public
Yeah.
policy. How did you dive in French from that different background?
Oh, it's just like a completely different story. So, yes, at that point of time, I was doing a bachelor's in political science, and soon after I did my master's in public policy as well. But I got introduced to the French language while I was back in school. So, I was really very passionate about learning this foreign language, and somehow French just fit into the picture so organically and naturally that I started enjoying the process of learning this language and soon got to know about this exams which is called as DELF. And
Hmm.
I progressed, I did a lot of thinking, and then that's how I think I became good at it. And I was able to have a sense of it that, oh, this is something that I can do and I can take it on a professional level as well. It was then when I started applying for jobs within the same domain, French domain, and I happened to land up for in a job for a French company. So it just organically fit in. But now political science and public policy is nowhere remotely related to what I'm doing as of now. I've
Yeah.
been very passionate about what I'm doing to create that kind of a positive impact on my students, because learning the language is one part of things, right? But then
Yeah.
being able to get that permanent residency through the language, I think, is very rewarding and gratifying as a trainer for me. I think it's the larger impact that I see, and I feel I would like to be associated with it. But now there is no relation at all.
And as you are in Canada right now,
Mhm.
and a lot of people dream to be there, dream to reach there, get their PR, and you prepare for it. They spend so much amount on it, and then land in the country and then settle there.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us in brief from where you started and what are the things you planned in a strategic way, and then that went in the right direction, and then you eventually then you are here, well settled in now in Canada.
Definitely, PR is becoming even more tough, right? With an
Yeah.
immigration crackdown, they're not getting their ITAs, invitations. I think now French has become one of the major assets that you need to have for you to ultimately get that golden ticket in Canada. For me, I never had planned to give the TEF exam, but it just happened so organically that I just spoke to some immigration lawyer and I told her that I am a bilingual expert and I can talk and I can express myself fluently in French. She told me this idea that there's this immigration plan which has come in place. It's called the Francophone. It's for the French speakers. If you get a certain CLB in the TEF or TCF exams, you would be able to ultimately get permanent residency. This idea was so alien to me, but I really liked it because being back in India, I was able to sit for the paper and ultimately get a PR in Canada, and then
Mhm.
eventually move with a lot of more security, because
Right.
right now a lot of folks are sitting on a time bomb, right?
Correct.
Because when you do 2 years of study, you get a work permit for 3 years, and if you're not able to get an invitation to apply for your permanent residency, so you do not have a lot of pleasant options with you, so
Hmm.
you have to go back to your own country. I think that was one of the driving factors that sort of I was able to tap and I prepared myself for it. Then I learned about more about the TEF exam, reading up about what the format looks like, what are the requirements, how can I attack the questions. That's how I prepared. I took a few classes from a language expert. So she was a TEF expert, especially for the writing part, because writing is one of the most important elements of for you to ultimately crack the paper. And I think within a brief time of about maybe like 3, 4 months, I was able to take up the paper and I cleared it in the very first attempt. And then that's how the process for immigration started to take place. And within 9 months of me getting my invitation to apply, I was able to get a confirmation that I've become a permanent resident, and that's how I moved to Canada. Yeah, I
That's
mean,
it.
the journey has been like a long journey, but it's been
Yes.
very rewarding. Yes.
And how much time did you take to learn a language and
Hmm.
then be in Canada? Like, what was your? I want to know the total duration of when you started with the language learning process till the time you got the PR. What was the time duration?
So I never started learning French with the objective of getting a permanent residency. I
Yeah.
never knew the existence of these TEF and TCF exams. It was just like an idea that I had during pandemic. I had a lot of time to kill and I wanted to go to Canada for my higher studies as well. I did a little bit of research and got to know that, oh, French is the official language of this country. So might as well learning the language would put me at a competitive edge as over other candidates. It was like back and forth. I did A2 within 6 months. I sat for the DELF exam, DELF A2. I cleared that. Then I was a little caught up with my other university commitments as well. So it was back and forth. But by the time I was able to get a job in the insurance company, French insurance company, I already had a B2 level. I would say like a decent upper-mediate level in the
Mhm.
language. But once I got to know about this exam of TEF and TCF, I think about in like 3, 4 months. And until then, once I was able to crack the paper, I was here in Canada. So I would say maybe like 4, 5 years in making. I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. There's always work in progress for a language
Yeah.
expert
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it totally depends in terms of timeline. If somebody asks me, oh, Disha, I'm at an absolute beginner level, how much time would it take for me to get to a decent level wherein I'm able to talk, where I'm able to express myself fluently
Yeah.
and fluidly in French? I would say timeline is something which is so subjective in nature. It is dependent on so many different factors. A, if you are a full time working professional or not. B, how committed and how willing you are to make that change.
Yeah.
See, how motivated are you? It's just little puzzles put together, and that's how the entire thing works. I think
Mm.
timeline is something which is very subjective, and everybody has a very different language aptitude, right? For some
Right.
people, like subjunctive, voila, just in one class. For the others, like 3, 4 classes, you just keep explaining them. No, je suis would become je sois.
Wow.
I think those are those small petit éléments, which is important. But
Yeah, very nicely put that there are few elements that are required for somebody to, and for everybody, this timeline is different. For you have very rightly said that if somebody is a working professional, the person will be spending a bit slightly lesser time as compared to somebody else who is maybe a college student. The person can give more time. It totally depends on how much time you spend with the language, I feel. And
absolutely. You have to enjoy the process. Other than the time
yes,
factor, I think you really have to enjoy. You have to, I like to put it as tomber dans un bain linguistique. You have to completely immerse, completely swim in that kind of an environment wherein you are consuming, you are surrounded, and you're making like a environment which is totally dominated by, the language, right? You're listening to
language,
stuff
yes.
every day, you are watching movies, you have the subtitles on. Maybe you're looking for an active speaking partner, you're going in front of the mirror, you're doing your présentez-vous again and again. So I think it's like everything put together, and that's
Hmm.
how everything comes into picture.
Right, right. Now we are going to move ahead towards round two. And
Mm-hmm.
round two will be in the French language. This segment will be of approximately 5 to 6 minutes,
Sure.
right? I'm going to be asking you a few questions in French, and then we are going to be having a conversation. It will be you who will be sharing your experience with me in the French
Mm-hmm.
language because people will love to listen from you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Right?
Uh,
Right. Round two, that is masterclass in French. Alors, Disha, qu'est-ce qui, selon vous, est le plus grand défi pour les étudiants qui se préparent pour l'examen du TEF ou maybe du TCF ou maybe du DELF?
Alors, d'après moi, il y a beaucoup de défis, n'est-ce pas? Mais l'un des plus grands défis, c'est beaucoup d'étudiants n'osent pas sortir de leur zone de confort. Alors, ils
Hmm,
restent très fermés, ils n'osent pas parler. Pourtant, si tu veux faire un peu de progrès, c'est vraiment très important de parler en français, non? Il faut se
exactement.
lancer, il faut se plonger dans un bain linguistique. Alors, c'est comme ça qu'on apprend une langue étrangère.
Je comprends ce que vous dites. En fait, maintenant, la deuxième question. En fait, pouvez-vous partager quelques anecdotes culturelles ou un moment marquant de votre parcours avec la langue française?
Alors, il existe une excellente expression française que j'adore et j'aime beaucoup utiliser au quotidien aussi qui s'appelle métro boulot dodo. Alors, métro boulot
Hmm.
dodo, c'est-à-dire rat race. So it's like
Mhm.
metro, it refers to the means of transit that you use in order to commute. Then, boulot is the slang for work, le travail, and then dodo is the sleep talk that you do to the babies. It's like the
Hmm.
same old routine, like work, work, work. So if you ask a Parisian, okay, alors comment vas-tu, quoi de neuf? They would say it as, oh, c'est toujours métro, boulot, dodo. C'est comme ça. Alors,
Oui,
c'est quelque chose que j'adore beaucoup et j'utilise dans ma vie quotidienne aussi si je parle avec quelqu'un en français.
très intéressant. Et quelques conseils, ce que vous pouvez donner à quelqu'un qui commence à apprendre le français. Quel point il faut garder dans la tête?
Alors, tout d'abord, il faut être très patient. C'est très important, ok? Apprendre
Oui.
une langue étrangère, ce n'est pas un jeu d'enfant, n'est-ce pas? Alors, ça prend du temps. Mais le plus important, d'après moi, et c'est de bien profiter du processus, c'est de bien s'amuser en apprenant. Alors, ne
Hmm.
te focalise pas trop sur la grammaire ou peut-être le vocabulaire. Alors, tout ça viendra avec, à force de
Avec le temps.
pratiquer, à force de oui, parler avec quelqu'un en français. Mais ce qui compte vraiment, c'est d'être régulier, discipliné et de faire un petit pas chaque jour parce que au début, c'est pas très facile, non, d'apprendre et il y a beaucoup de règles de grammaire qui existent dans cette langue, mais ça va prendre du temps. Il faut être vraiment très patient et déterminé. Je pense que oui, c'est ça.
Et je suis sûr que les gens vont être très heureux après avoir regardé cette partie de la vidéo.
Merci beaucoup. Je ne sais pas vraiment, mais oui, j'espère ça.
Oui, je pense que si quelqu'un déjà connaît comment parler la langue française, donc je pense que pour ces personnes, cette partie va être très amusante ou peut-être très intéressante. Donc, voilà.
Oui,